At our wedding, my wife said, "This dance is for the man I've secretly loved for the past 10 years." Then she walked right past me and asked my brother to dance. Everyone clapped. Later, I asked my father one question, and my wife choked while my brother collapsed. The day begins the way most disasters do, with sunshine. I'm standing in front of the bathroom mirror in a hotel suite that costs more per night than my first car, adjusting a bow tie that feels like a silk noose, and I can hear my brother Marcus laughing in the adjoining room. His laugh has always had this quality to it, this easy confidence that makes people lean in, want to be part of whatever joke he's telling. Even through the wall, even muffled by expensive insulation and the sound of running water, it carries. My hands are shaking. I tell myself, it's normal. Wedding day jitters, everyone gets them. The rational part of my brain, the part that spent 6 years in graduate school, that published 3 papers on behavioral economics, that can calculate compound interest in my head, knows that nervousness is a documented physiological response to major life events. Cortisol levels spike, heart rate increases, fine motor control deteriorates. But there's another part of my brain, a quieter part that lives somewhere beneath language, that whispers something else entirely. The bow tie finally cooperates. I look at myself in the mirror, really look, and try to see what Elena sees. What she's always said she sees: 6'1", decent bone structure, dark hair that grays prematurely at the temples in a way my mother insists is distinguished. Broad shoulders from the swimming I did in college. Brown eyes that Elena once described as thoughtful, which I've always suspected was a kind word for unremarkable. I look like someone getting married. I don't look like someone whose world is about to end. Daniel! Marcus knocks on the bathroom door, still laughing. Come on, man. Dad's here with the photographer. She wants to get some getting ready shots before we head to the venue. I open the door. Marcus stands there in his matching tuxedo, his bow tie perfectly straight on the first try, because of course it is. His smile wide and genuine and completely uncomplicated. He's 2 years younger than me, 29 to my 31, but people always assume he's older. He has that quality some people are born with: presence, charisma, whatever you want to call it. When Marcus walks into a room, the air pressure changes. You look terrified, he says, but he's grinning, so it's supposed to be a joke. Just nervous, I say. Normal amount of nervous. Bro, you're marrying Elena Chen. You won the lottery. Be happy nervous, not execution nervous. He claps me on the shoulder, and something in my chest tightens. The thing about Marcus is that he means it. Every word. He's genuinely happy for me. When I told him I was going to propose, he hugged me so hard he lifted me off the ground. When Elena said yes, he bought us a bottle of champagne that cost more than he probably made that week. He's been the best man anyone could ask for. Organized the bachelor party, gave thoughtful toasts at every pre-wedding event, helped me pick out Elena's engagement ring. He's perfect. That's always been the problem. We walk into the main suite where my father's talking to the photographer, a woman in her 40s with impressive camera equipment and an air of patient professionalism. Dad sees us, and his face does this thing it always does when he looks at Marcus and me together. A little softening around the eyes, a smile that's equal parts pride and something I can't quite name. My boys, he says, and there's genuine emotion in his voice. Both of you, looking sharp. Thanks, Dad, Marcus and I say in near unison, which makes Dad laugh. The photographer starts directing us, asking us to adjust our postures, look at each other, laugh naturally. That last one is always impossible when someone asks for it, but Marcus manages it somehow, cracking a joke about the time I fell into a fountain, trying to impress a girl in high school, and soon we're all laughing for real. The camera clicks and whirs. These are going to be beautiful, the photographer says. The love in this family just shines through. Love, yes, that's what we have. That's what we've always had. I think about Elena, probably getting ready in another suite on another floor, surrounded by her bridesmaids and her mother and her sister. I think about the first time I saw her, 8 years ago at a networking event I almost didn't attend. She was wearing a red dress and talking about sustainable urban development with an enthusiasm that made everyone around her lean in, exactly the way people lean in when Marcus talks. I fell in love with her instantly, or I thought I did. The truth is more complicated than that, more layered. The truth is that I fell in love with the idea of someone like Elena loving someone like me. Smart, beautiful, ambitious Elena who could have chosen anyone, choosing Daniel Foster, the steady one, the reliable one, The one who shows up on time and remembers anniversaries and reads all the books she recommends. I worked so hard to be worthy of her. Daniel? My father's voice pulls me back. You okay, son? Yeah, I say automatically. Just thinking about the ceremony. You're not having second thoughts, are you? This from Marcus, and his voice is playful, but there's something underneath it. Concern, maybe, or curiosity. No, I say, and I mean it. I'm not having second thoughts. I'm having a thought that's been growing in the space beneath thoughts for months now, maybe longer. A thought I've been trying to ignore, the way you ignore a distant sound in the night, telling yourself it's just the house settling, just the wind, just nothing. The thought sounds like Elena's laugh when Marcus tells a joke. The thought looks like the way her eyes find him in a crowded room. The thought feels like the pattern I've been unconsciously mapping for 10 months, ever since I proposed, and she said yes, and everything should have been perfect, but instead started feeling slightly imperceptibly wrong. Let's get one of just the brothers, the photographer says, and Marcus and I stand together, his arm around my shoulders, both of us smiling. Click, whir, flash. Evidence of our happiness, captured forever. The venue is a restored mansion on the coast, the kind of place that charges enough per hour to fund a small country's GDP. Elena chose it. Elena chose everything, really. The flowers, white orchids and pale roses. The menu, locally sourced, seasonally appropriate. The string quartet, graduates of prestigious conservatories. The guest list, exactly 200 people, balanced carefully between our families and professional obligations. I arrived 2 hours before the ceremony, which the wedding planner insists is cutting it close. The planner is a woman named Claire, who speaks in a perpetual tone of controlled urgency, as if every wedding is one misplaced napkin away from complete collapse. Daniel, finally, she says, descending on me the moment I walk in. We need to do a walkthrough of the ceremony blocking. The officiant has some questions about the vows, and we need to finalize the pronunciation of Elena's grandmother's name for the reading. I follow her through the mansion's grand hallways, trying to absorb her rapid-fire instructions. The building is beautiful in that old money way, hardwood floors that creak with history, crown molding that required actual craftsmen, windows that look out over manicured gardens descending toward the ocean. Someone has filled every available surface with flowers, and the scent is almost overwhelming, sweet and funereal. In the main ballroom where the reception will be held, staff members are setting up tables with geometric precision. Each table has a centerpiece that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Each place setting includes more forks than any reasonable meal requires. Everything gleams. The first dance will happen here, Claire says, gesturing to a section of floor they've left clear. The DJ will announce you and Elena, you'll walk to the center, and then the spotlight will come on for your dance. We've timed it, 3 minutes and 42 seconds for the song you selected. After that, the DJ will invite everyone else to join, and we'll transition into the father-daughter dance, then the mother-son dance, and then open dancing. I nod, visualizing it. Elena and I, holding each other, turning slowly while 200 people watch. We practiced this. We took 4 lessons at a dance studio, Elena laughing every time I counted steps out loud. She said she loved that about me, how I approached everything with such careful attention, such earnest determination to get it right. It's going to be perfect, I told her after our last lesson. It doesn't have to be perfect, she said. It just has to be us. Now I look at the empty dance floor and I wonder what us even means. Daniel? Claire's looking at me expectantly. Did you hear the question? Sorry, what? The announcement. When you and Elena enter for the first dance, we have it as Mr. and Mrs. Foster, but Elena wanted to check if you'd prefer Daniel and Elena Foster, or if she should keep her name, so it would be, she can keep her name, I say. Of course she can keep her name. Claire makes a note. So the DJ will say, Daniel Foster and Elena Chen? Sure. You should probably discuss this with Elena before. It's fine, whatever she wants. Claire looks at me for a moment longer than necessary, her professional mask slipping just enough for me to see concern underneath. But she recovers quickly, making another note, moving on to the next item on her infinite list. The officiant is a friend of Elena's family, a woman named Dr. Morrison, who teaches philosophy at the university where Elena got her undergraduate degree. She's in her 60s with silver hair and the kind of calm presence that makes you understand why people trust her to conduct the most important ceremonies of their lives. Daniel, she says warmly, shaking my hand, are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. That's the spirit. She smiles. I wanted to go over the vows one more time. You and Elena both wrote your own, yes? I nod. My vows are memorized, rehearsed in front of the mirror until the words lost all meaning and became pure sound. I can recite them right now if needed. I can say them and mean them because they're true. Every promise I made on paper is a promise I intend to keep. The problem isn't the promises. The problem is the question I've been afraid to ask. Dr. Morrison walks me through the ceremony order. Processional, opening words, readings, vows, ring exchange, pronouncement, recessional. It's all very standard, very traditional, which is what Elena wanted. Something classic, she said. Something that feels timeless. And you're comfortable with everything? Dr. Morrison asks. Yes? No last-minute additions or changes? No. She studies me, and I have the distinct impression that she sees more than I'm saying. But philosophy professors are probably good at that. Reading subtext, understanding what people mean versus what they say. Marriage is a profound commitment, she says carefully. It's normal to feel uncertain, even scared. Those feelings don't mean you're making a mistake. They mean you understand the weight of what you're promising. I know, I say. I do understand. Good. She pats my arm. Then I'll see you in a few hours. After she leaves, I walk out to the gardens. The ceremony will take place on a stone terrace overlooking the ocean, white chairs arranged in perfect rows, an arch covered in flowers marking where Elena and I will stand. Beyond the terrace, a stone staircase leads down through the gardens to the cliffs. And beyond the cliffs, the Pacific stretches toward the horizon, vast and indifferent. I think about the ocean's depth. How much exists beneath the surface that we never see? I think about the question I asked my father 3 weeks ago, late one night when we were both unable to sleep and sitting in his kitchen drinking coffee at 2 in the morning. The question that's been sitting in my chest ever since, growing heavier. Dad, I said, do you think Elena loves me? He looked surprised. Of course she loves you. She's marrying you. I know, I stopped, trying to articulate the thing I'd been feeling. Do you think she loves me the way I love her? Or do you think she loves me because I'm safe? My father considered this for a long time. That's one thing I've always appreciated about him. He doesn't rush to reassurance. He thinks. Daniel, he said finally, I think Elena cares about you deeply. I think she respects you, trusts you, enjoys your company. And whether that's the same thing you feel for her, that's something only the two of you can determine. But you've noticed it, I said, haven't you? The way she looks at Marcus. The silence that followed was answer enough. I'm probably imagining it, I said quickly. I'm just nervous. Pre-wedding jitters? Maybe, Dad said. But he didn't sound convinced. Now, standing in the garden with the ocean wind cutting through my tuxedo, I pull out my phone. I have a text from Elena, sent 20 minutes ago. Can't wait to see you at the altar. I love you. I text back, love you too. And I do. That's the thing that makes this so complicated. I love Elena. I love her intelligence, her drive, the way she cares about making the world better. I love how she remembers small details about my students, how she leaves notes in my lunch, how she falls asleep during movies and then insists she was just resting her eyes. I love her enough to ignore what I've been seeing. Or I did, until 3 weeks ago when I asked my father that question and saw the truth reflected in his careful non-answer. The truth I've been building evidence for without meaning to. The truth that the patterns all point to, if you're willing to look at the data. Marcus's voice carries across the garden. He's talking to someone, the DJ, I think, his laugh bright and easy. He's been so helpful, so supportive. When I told him I was worried I'd mess up the first dance, he offered to practice with me. When I mentioned I was nervous about my vows, he read them over and said they were perfect. They're really moving. He's been the best brother anyone could ask for. I close my eyes and listen to the ocean. And I think about how drowning is supposed to be quiet. The guests arrive in waves, dressed in their wedding best, air-kissing and exclaiming over the venue. I watch from a window in one of the side rooms, trying to calm my breathing. Marcus is beside me, straightening his tie in a mirror. Big moment, he says. You ready? I think so. You think so? He laughs. Come on, man. You've been planning this for months. You've got this. I turn to look at him. Really look at him. My younger brother, who has always been the golden child without trying to be, who got straight A's without studying, made varsity as a freshman, dated the homecoming queen, who now works in marketing at a tech startup and has a salary that makes my academic income look like lunch money. Marcus, I say, can I ask you something? Of course, show anything. Do you think Elena and I are right for each other? He blinks, surprised. What kind of question is that? You're getting married in like 30 minutes. I know, just tell me honestly. Do we make sense together? Marcus is quiet for a moment, and I can see him actually considering the question, not just rushing to reassurance. This is one of the things I respect about him, despite everything. He has emotional intelligence. He pays attention. I think, he says carefully, that you and Elena are both good people who care about each other. And I think that's a pretty solid foundation for a marriage. But do we make sense? I press. The way some couples just fit? Daniel. He puts a hand on my shoulder, looks me directly in the eye. You're overthinking this. You always overthink things. Elena said yes. She wants to marry you. That's all that matters. I nod, but his answer feels like an evasion. Like a lawyer responding to a question with technically accurate information that somehow misses the point. Claire appears in the doorway. Okay, gentlemen, it's time. Daniel, we're seating your mother. Marcus, you'll walk her down and then take your place at the altar. Daniel, you'll be escorted by your father and then wait at the front. Everyone clear? We follow her instructions like actors, moving through a well-rehearsed play. My mother, beautiful in her blue dress, takes Marcus's arm and smiles up at him with obvious affection. They walk down the aisle together, and I watch from the doorway as guests turn to admire them. They look perfect together. My mother's elegance, matching Marcus's easy charm. Then it's my turn. My father offers his arm, and we walk down the aisle together. The guests rise. I can feel 200 pairs of eyes on me. But I keep my gaze forward, focused on the flower-covered arch where Dr. Morrison stands waiting. The music swells. The bridesmaids process down the aisle in their pale pink dresses, moving in synchronized steps. Elena's sister, her maid of honor, winks at me as she passes. Then, the music changes to the bridal march, and everyone rises again and Elena appears. She's breathtaking. Her dress is simple but elegant, fitted at the bodice and flowing from the waist, with delicate lace sleeves that catch the light. Her dark hair is swept up, a few carefully placed strands framing her face. She's holding a bouquet of white roses and orchids, and she's crying. Happy tears that she's not even trying to hide. She walks down the aisle on her father's arm, and her eyes find mine, and she smiles, that smile that made me fall in love with her 8 years ago. Except her eyes don't stay on mine. They flicker, just for a second. To the left, where Marcus stands. And I see it. The look. The one I've been trying to pretend I haven't been seeing for months. The look that says, I wish things were different. Then she's beside me. Her father is placing her hand in mine, and Dr. Morrison is beginning the ceremony. Dearly beloved, she says, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Daniel Foster and Elena Chen in holy matrimony. The ceremony proceeds exactly as rehearsed. The readings are beautiful, one from Khalil Gibran about love, one from Mary Oliver about attention as prayer. When it comes time for the vows, Elena goes first. She's written something lovely about partnership and growth, about choosing each other every day, about building a life together brick by careful brick. Her voice trembles when she promises to love me in sickness and health, for richer or poorer. Several guests are crying. I mean my vows when I say them. Every word. I promise to be her partner, her support, her safe harbor. I promise to love her unconditionally, to listen deeply, to choose her of all others. The ring exchange goes smoothly. Elena's hands are shaking when I slide the band onto her finger, and when she does the same for me, she whispers, I love you. I love you too, I whisper back. And it's true, it's just not the whole truth. Dr. Morrison pronounces us married. You may kiss your bride, she says, and I do, and everyone cheers, and just like that, it's done. We're married. Elena Chen is now Elena Chen Foster, or just Elena Foster, depending on which paperwork you look at. We walk back down the aisle together, hand in hand, smiling for the cameras, and I can feel the weight of what I've just done settling over me like a wet blanket. I've married someone who loves my brother. No, that's not quite right. That's the simplified version, the headline version. The true version is more complicated. I've married someone who loves me but is in love with my brother, and the difference between those two things is everything. The cocktail hour passes in a blur of congratulations and small talk. Elena and I circulate among the guests, accepting hugs and well wishes, posing for what feels like thousands of photos. Everyone keeps saying how beautiful the ceremony was, how perfect we look together, how lucky we are. My mother cries when she hugs me. I'm so happy for you, sweetheart. She says, Elena is wonderful. Thanks, Mom. Your father and we always knew you'd find someone special. You deserve this. Do I wonder? Do I deserve this, or have I simply worked hard enough to convince everyone, including myself, that I do? Marcus keeps appearing in my peripheral vision. He's everywhere, laughing with Elena's cousins, taking selfies with old college friends, charming the older relatives with his easy conversation. Several times, I catch him and Elena exchanging glances across the room. Nothing obvious. Nothing you'd notice. Unless you were looking for it. I'm looking for it. I've been looking for it for 10 months, building a case like a prosecutor assembling evidence. And the worst part is that neither of them is doing anything wrong. They're not sneaking off together. They're not having whispered conversations in corners. They're not even spending more time together than would be appropriate for a brother-in-law and sister-in-law to be. It's subtler than that. It's the way Elena's whole face lights up when Marcus enters a room. A different kind of light than when she sees me. It's the way Marcus remembers every small detail Elena mentions. Her favorite coffee order, the name of her childhood dog, the specific shade of blue she wants for the guest bathroom in the house we're buying, with a precision that seems to go beyond general thoughtfulness. It's the way they laugh at the same jokes, finish each other's sentences, gravitate toward each other at parties without seeming to realize they're doing it. It's the way Elena has mentioned Marcus in conversation at least once a day for the past year. Marcus suggested, Marcus told me, Marcus thinks. Individually, these things mean nothing. Together, they form a pattern. And I'm very good at patterns. It's literally what I do for a living. Identify trends, analyze data, predict outcomes based on behavioral indicators. The pattern here is unmistakable. At some point during the cocktail hour, my father pulls me aside. How are you holding up? He asks. Fine. Good. Great. Daniel. I look at him. My father, who has always been kind, always been steady, always been there. My father, who 3 weeks ago sat with me in his kitchen at 2 in the morning and didn't tell me I was imagining things. I'm okay, Dad, I say. Really? Are you sure? His voice is gentle. Because if you're having doubts, if something doesn't feel right, it's done now, I interrupt. We're married, whatever what I was worried about, it doesn't matter anymore. It always matters, he says quietly. Daniel, if Elena, Dad, please. I can hear the edge in my own voice. Not today, not now. He studies my face for a long moment, then nods. Okay, but if you need to talk, I'm here. I know, thank you. Claire appears with her clipboard, looking slightly frantic. Daniel, Elena, we need you for pictures with the wedding party. The photographer wants to use the golden hour light. Elena and I are herded outside with the bridesmaids and groomsmen. The photographer poses us in various configurations, the full wedding party, just the bride and groom, Elena with her bridesmaids, me with my groomsmen. Marcus is my best man, so he's in most of the shots, standing just behind my left shoulder. Okay, let's get one of the bride with the best man, the photographer says. This is a nice tradition, the bride and the best man, since he's usually the groom's closest friend or family member. Marcus and Elena pose together. He puts his arm around her waist. She leans into him slightly, naturally, the way you lean towards someone whose touch feels comfortable, familiar, right? Click. Whir, flash. Beautiful, the photographer says. You two have great chemistry. They do. Anyone can see it. The question is, am I the only one who understands what it means? Dinner is served at precisely 7 o'clock. The meal is exquisite. Pan-seared sea bass, locally foraged vegetables, or wine that probably costs more per bottle than my weekly grocery budget. Elaine and I sit at the head table, our parents on either side, the wedding party flanking us. I eat without tasting anything. Beside me, Elena is radiant, laughing at something her father is saying, occasionally squeezing my hand under the table. To everyone watching, we're the picture of newlywed happiness. And maybe we are. Maybe this is what happiness looks like. This performance of joy, this collective agreement to see only the surface of things. After dinner, Claire taps her glass with a knife and the room falls silent. Ladies and gentlemen, she announces, we'll now hear from the maid of honor and the best man. Elena's sister goes first. Her toast is funny and touching, full of stories from their childhood, jokes about Elena's perfectionism, sweet observations about how happy Elena and I make each other. Everyone laughs in the right places, sighs in the right places, raises their glasses when she concludes with, to Daniel and Elena, may your love grow stronger with every passing year. To Daniel and Elena, the room echoes. Then it's Marcus's turn. He stands, microphone in hand, and the room's energy shifts subtly. This is Marcus's domain. Public speaking, commanding attention, making people feel things. He's always been better at this than me. Hi, everyone, he says, and his voice is warm, confident. For those who don't know me, I'm Marcus, Daniel's younger brother. And before I start, I just want to say, Daniel, Elena, you both look absolutely incredible today. Applause. Elena blows him a kiss. I smile. I've been thinking a lot about what to say today, Marcus continues. About what it means to stand here as my brother's best man on one of the most important days of his life. And I kept coming back to this one memory from when we were kids. He pauses, and I can feel the room leaning in. Daniel and I were pretty different, always have been. I was the kid who could make friends with anyone, who got by on charm and luck. Daniel was the one who actually did his homework, who showed up on time, who kept his promises. And I remember this one time, I must have been maybe 13, so Daniel was 15. I'd forgotten about this huge project that was due, like 25% of my grade, and I'd completely spaced on it. A few people chuckle knowingly. So, Daniel, Marcus's voice softens, becomes genuinely affectionate. Daniel stayed up all night helping me. Not doing the project for me, but helping me, teaching me, making sure I understood it. And the next morning, when we both went to school exhausted, I got a B+ on that project. And Daniel got marked down in his own class for falling asleep during a presentation. More laughter, but it's gentle, fond. That's who my brother is, Marcus says, looking directly at me. He's the guy who sacrifices his own needs for the people he loves. He's dependable, loyal, kind. He's the person you want in your corner when things get hard. And Elena, he turns to her now, and I watch her face. Elena, you're getting the best man I know. Literally, the best man. Elena's eyes are shining with tears. And Daniel, Marcus continues, looking back at me, you're getting someone extraordinary. Elena is brilliant and ambitious, caring and beautiful inside and out. You two, his voice catches just slightly. You two are going to build an amazing life together. I'm honored to be here to witness the start of it. He raises his glass. To Daniel and Elena, may you find joy in every day, support in every challenge, and love in every moment. To my brother and his bride. To Daniel and Elena, everyone echoes, louder this time. Marcus sits down, and people are clapping, some standing, some wiping their eyes. It was a perfect toast, heartfelt, personal, emotionally intelligent. And as I watch Elena lean across to mouth thank you to Marcus, I think, he would have been perfect for her. They would have been perfect for each other. The thought sits in my chest like a stone. After the toast, Claire orchestrates the cake cutting, another perfect photo opportunity, and Elena and I feeding each other small bites while everyone watches. Then she's herding us toward the dance floor, and the DJ is adjusting his equipment. And this is it, the first dance, the moment every wedding builds toward. Ladies and gentlemen, the DJ announces, his voice smooth and practiced, please welcome to the dance floor for their first dance as husband and wife, Daniel and Elena Foster. The lights dim. A spotlight clicks on, illuminating a circle in the center of the dance floor. Elena takes my hand, and we walk into the light together. The music starts. Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud, which Elena chose because she said it reminded her of us. We start to dance, moving through the steps we practiced at the studio. Elena is a better dancer than me. She makes it look effortless. I'm counting beats in my head, trying not to step on her dress. "You're doing great," she whispers. "So are you." "I love you," she says. "I love you too." And I do. Standing here with her in my arms, under the spotlight, I can almost convince myself that this is enough. That love, steady, reliable, chosen love, is sufficient even if it's not quite the lightning strike, soulmate, meant to be kind of love that movies promise us. We turn slowly. I can see guests watching from the edge of the dance floor, their faces soft with vicarious joy. My mother is crying again. Elena's father has his arm around Elena's mother, both of them beaming. And Marcus is standing near the front of the crowd, watching us with an expression I can't quite read. The song continues. Elena rests her head on my shoulder, and I hold her close, and this should be perfect. This should be the happiest moment of my life. Instead, I'm thinking about the question I asked my father 3 weeks ago. The question that's been growing in me like a tumor, pressing against my lungs, making it hard to breathe. "Daniel?" Elena lifts her head to look at me. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, just overwhelmed. It's a lot." "I know," she smiles. "But we did it. We're married." "We're married," I repeat. The song is building toward its crescendo, almost over. Just a few more bars, and then we can invite everyone else to join us, and I can disappear into the crowd, and this moment will become just another memory, another photograph in an album. But then the music cuts out, just stops. The sudden silence is jarring. People murmur in confusion. The spotlight holds on Elena and me, frozen mid-dance. The DJ fumbles with his equipment, says something about technical difficulties, and then Elena does something I will never forget. She steps back from me, just one step, but it's the most final movement I've ever seen. A step that creates distance, that breaks the circle of our embrace, that says, "Wait." "Ladies and gentlemen," she says, and her voice is loud enough to carry even without a microphone. The room falls completely silent. "I'm sorry, there's something I need to say." My heart stops. "Elena?" I reach for her, but she steps back again, shaking her head. "I need to say this," she repeats. She's looking out at the crowd now, not at me. I need everyone to hear it. "Elena, what are you doing?" This from her mother, alarmed. But Elena ignores her. She's radiating a kind of intense energy, like she's been holding something in for so long that it's finally broken free, and now she can't stop it if she tried. "This dance," she says, and her voice is shaking. "This first dance. I need to dedicate it to someone." The air in the room changes. People are looking at each other, uncertain, sensing drama, but not understanding it yet. "Elena," I start, but she cuts me off. "I need to dedicate this dance to the man I've secretly loved for the past 10 years. The room explodes into whispers. I hear gasps, shocked exclamations. Someone drops a glass and it shatters. Elena is looking at me now, and there are tears streaming down her face, but she's also smiling, this strange, wild, liberated smile that I've never seen before. "The man I've loved," she repeats, "while I was with Daniel, while I was planning this wedding, while I was standing at the altar, promising to love, honor, and cherish. I was thinking about someone else." "Elena, stop!" My voice sounds distant and like it's coming from underwater. "Don't do this." But she's not stopping. She's turning now, scanning the crowd, and I know, God, I know who she's looking for. "The man I want to dance with," she says. "The man I should have married. The man I think about every day." Her eyes find him. "Marcus," she says. "This dance is for Marcus." The silence that follows is absolute. Every eye in the room swivels to my brother. Marcus looks like he's been struck by lightning. His face has gone completely white. His mouth opens, closes, no sound coming out. "Elena, what the fuck?" Someone says. I think it's Elena's sister. But Elena is already moving, walking off the dance floor, walking straight toward Marcus with her hand extended. "Dance with me," she says. "Please, I need to dance with you." The spotlight operator, confused and probably thinking this is part of some planned surprise, swivels the light to follow her. The beam catches Elena and Marcus, illuminating them like actors on a stage. "Elena, Marcus looks at me, his eyes wide with panic. "Daniel, I haven't," but Elena has reached him. She takes his hand, and even from across the room, I can see the way his fingers automatically close around hers. Dance with me, she says again, and her voice breaks. Please, I've wanted this for so long. And Marcus, my brother, my best man, the person I've trusted most in the world, doesn't say no. He doesn't say anything. He just lets Elena lead him onto the dance floor, into the spotlight, into the space where my wife and I were standing 30 seconds ago. The DJ, reading the room's stunned energy, or maybe just responding to Elena's clear intention, starts the music again. The song picks up where it left off, Ed Sheeran singing about falling in love. And my wife dances with my brother at my wedding, in front of 200 people, while I stand at the edge of the dance floor alone, watching. Someone starts clapping. I can't see who it is, everything's blurred, or maybe I'm crying, I don't know. But someone starts clapping, and then someone else joins in, and then more people, until the whole room is applauding this moment, this dance, this public declaration of my wife's love for my brother. They think it's romantic, they think this is some beautiful, honest moment, a bride being true to her heart. They're clapping for my humiliation. The song continues. Marcus and Elena dance, and they're perfect together. So much more natural, more right than Elena and I were. They fit. I can see it. Everyone can see it. And I stand there, frozen, and I think, this is my wedding day. This is supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it's the day I learn what it feels like to be erased. I don't remember leaving the ballroom. I don't remember walking through the mansion's hallways, past the shocked guests who've spilled out to whisper and speculate. I don't remember finding my way to the garden, to the stone terrace where Elena and I got married just hours ago. But suddenly I'm there, gripping the terrace railing, staring out at the dark ocean, trying to understand what just happened. Behind me, I hear footsteps. My father. Daniel, his voice is gentle. Son. I don't turn around. If I turn around, if I look at him, I might break completely. Everyone's asking what they should do, Dad says. Whether to leave or stay. Claire's trying to figure out if we continue with the reception or... I don't care, I say. My voice sounds flat, dead. I don't care what they do. Dad moves to stand beside me, both of us looking out at the water. That was... He stops, searching for words. I don't know what that was. That was my wife telling 200 people that she's in love with my brother, I say. The words come out bitter, sharp. At our wedding. During our first dance. I know. Did you know? I turn to look at him now. Did you know she felt that way about Marcus? Dad's face is troubled. I knew something wasn't right. I could see the way she looked at him. But I hoped, it was just a passing thing. An infatuation. I didn't think she would... He gestures helplessly back toward the ballroom. That. I laugh and it comes out wrong. Too high, too jagged. Of course you didn't. Because who does that? Who stands at the altar, says vows, puts on a ring, and then announces to everyone that she loves someone else? Someone who's been lying to herself, Dad says quietly. Someone who couldn't keep lying anymore. That's not an excuse. No, he agrees, it's not. We stand in silence. The ocean wind is cold, cutting through my tuxedo. I'm shaking, but I don't know if it's from the temperature or shock or rage or grief. Where's Marcus? I ask. Still inside. Elena was trying to talk to him, and he looked devastated. Whatever she said up there, I don't think he was expecting it. Do you believe that? I look at Dad. Do you really think Marcus didn't know? Dad considers this carefully. I think Marcus might have suspected Elena had feelings for him, but I don't think he encouraged them. I don't think he acted on them. Your brother has a lot of faults, but he's not cruel. Then why didn't he say no? My voice breaks. When she asked him to dance, why didn't he refuse? Why didn't he tell her that this was wrong, that this was my wedding, that she was my wife? I don't know, Dad says. Shock maybe, confusion, or he wanted to dance with her, I finish. Because he loves her too. The silence that follows confirms it. I need to ask you something, I say. The question I asked you 3 weeks ago, you remember? I remember. You said you'd noticed, the way Elena looks at Marcus. But there's something else I need to know. I take a breath. Has Marcus ever talked to you about Elena? About having feelings for her? Dad is quiet for a long moment. Too long. Dad, I press him, I need to know. Last year, he says finally, last October, Marcus came to me and he was troubled. He said he thought Elena was attracted to him, and he didn't know what to do about it. He asked if he should distance himself, maybe move to a different city for a while. My chest tightens. What did you tell him? I told him that if he thought there was a problem, he should talk to you about it directly, that you deserved to know if something was going on. But he never talked to me. Oh, Dad says. He didn't. I processed this. Marcus knew. Not just suspected, knew. Elena had feelings for him strong enough that he could see them, strong enough that he considered leaving town to avoid temptation. And he never said a word to me. Instead, he stayed. He helped me plan the proposal. He organized my bachelor party. He stood beside me at the altar as my best man, all while knowing. I need to ask you one more question, I say, and I need you to tell me the truth no matter how bad it is. Dad nods. Anything. I look at him directly. Do you think they've slept together? The pause before he answers tells me everything. I don't know for certain, he says carefully, but I've seen things that made me wonder. What things? Phone calls that end abruptly when you enter the room. Inside jokes that seem too intimate. The way Marcus looks at Elena when he thinks no one's watching. Dad's voice is heavy with regret. I should have said something. I should have pushed Marcus to talk to you, or I should have talked to you myself. But I kept thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was reading too much into things. I didn't want to cause problems if there weren't any. There were problems, I say. There are problems. My wife just announced her love for my brother in front of everyone we know. I know. Daniel, I'm so sorry. I shake my head. The apology is useless. Everyone's sorry. Sorry doesn't undo what happened. Sorry doesn't change the fact that I've been humiliated on what was supposed to be the most important day of my life. Sorry doesn't answer the question that matters most. What do I do now? Behind us, the terrace door opens. Marcus. Daniel, he says, and his voice is wrecked. Daniel, I need to talk to you. I don't turn around. I don't want to talk to you. Please, you have to let me explain. Explain what? I whirl to face him. Explain how my wife is in love with you. Explain how you knew and never said anything. Explain why you danced with her in front of everyone instead of telling her to stop. Marcus's face is streaked with tears. I've never seen him cry before. Not like this. I didn't know she was going to do that, he says. Daniel, I swear, I had no idea she was going to, but you knew she had feelings for you. He freezes, looks at our father. Dad told you. Yes. Daniel, it wasn't, I never encouraged it. I never what? I step toward him. Never touched her, never thought about her. No, never wished things were different. He stops, swallows. I tried not to. The admission hangs in the air like smoke. Tried not to, I repeat. That's what you're going with? You tried not to fall in love with my fiancée? I didn't fall in love with her, Marcus says, but his voice is weak. She's amazing, Daniel. Anyone can see that. And sometimes I thought about, but I never acted on it. I never told her how I felt. I never did anything wrong. You did everything wrong! I'm shouting now, and I don't care who hears. You should have told me. You should have left. You should have done something other than stand next to me at my wedding, pretending everything was fine while you were in love with my bride. I'm not, Marcus starts, then stops. I don't know what I feel. Well, figure it out, I say. Because my marriage just ended before it even began, and I need to know if it was for nothing or if at least someone got what they wanted. Daniel, please. But I'm done. I push past him, past my father, back into the mansion. I need to find Elena. I need to have this out now, while the adrenaline is still pumping, while I still feel capable of confronting what just happened. I find her in the bridal suite, sitting on a velvet couch, her wedding dress spread around her like a pool of cream. Her makeup is ruined, her hair coming loose from its careful styling. She looks up when I enter, and I see fear in her eyes. Good, she should be afraid. We need to talk, I say. I know. Her voice is small. Daniel, I'm so sorry. Don't. I hold up a hand. Don't apologize, not yet. First, I need you to tell me the truth, all of it. How long have you been in love with Marcus? Elena closes her eyes. I don't know. Years. Maybe since the beginning. The beginning. She's known Marcus as long as she's known me. They met at the same party where Elena and I first spoke. I introduced them. Since the beginning, I repeat. You've been in love with Marcus for the entire time we've been together. I didn't realize it at first, she says. I thought it was just, he's charming, everyone likes him. I didn't think it meant anything, but then the more time we spent together, the more I got to know him, the more I realized She stops, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. I realized I was with the wrong brother. The words hit like a physical blow. Then why did you say yes when I proposed? I ask. Why did you plan this wedding? Why did you stand at that altar and say vows if you knew you were in love with someone else? Because I love you, she says desperately. Daniel, I do love you. You're kind and smart and thoughtful but I'm not Marcus. No, she whispers. You're not Marcus. The truth settles over us like ash. Did you sleep with him? I ask. No, say Elena looks horrified. Daniel, no, I would never, we never, but you wanted to. She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I sink into a chair across from her, suddenly exhausted. Why did you do this? Tonight, the dance, the announcement? Why? I don't know, she says. I was standing there with you, dancing, and everyone was watching us. And all I could think was that it was wrong, that I was lying, that I was starting our marriage with this huge lie between us. And it was only going to get bigger, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep pretending. So you decided to humiliate me instead. I didn't mean to humiliate you, she says, but it sounds hollow. I just needed to be honest. There's a difference between honesty and cruelty, I say. You could have talked to me in private. You could have ended things before the wedding. You could have done anything other than announce your love for my brother in front of 200 people at our wedding reception. I know, she sobs. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing. I stand up and she flinches. Your apologies mean nothing. You destroyed me tonight. You destroyed us. And for what? For Marcus? Did you even ask him if he feels the same way? Elena's silence tells me she didn't. You didn't, I say, almost laughing at the absurdity. You just assumed. You blew up our wedding on the assumption that Marcus loves you too. He does, she says. I know he does. I can see it. You see what you want to see, I interrupt, just like I saw what I wanted to see. The difference is I actually married you. I head for the door, needing to get out, needing air. What happens now? Elena calls after me. Daniel, please, what are we going to do? I pause at the doorway, looking back at her. My wife. The woman I promised to love forever, the woman who loves my brother. I don't know, I say honestly, but I'll tell you what's not going to happen. You're not going to get Marcus. Even if he does have feelings for you, even if this does work out the way you're imagining, you won't get him. Do you know why? Elena shakes her head. Because Marcus is going to spend the rest of his life feeling guilty about what happened tonight, I say. And every time he looks at you, he's going to see the moment he destroyed his brother's marriage. That guilt will poison whatever you think you could have together. That's not true, she says, but her voice wavers. We'll see, I say. But here's what I do know. You made your choice tonight, in front of everyone, and now you get to live with the consequences. I leave her there, crying in her wedding dress, and I walk back through the mansion that's still full of our wedding guests who don't know whether to stay or leave, whether to celebrate or mourn, whether this is a tragedy or a romance. And that's when I realize something. I asked my father the question 3 weeks ago. I asked if he thought Elena loved me, and his answer, his careful, considered answer, told me the truth I'd been avoiding. But I never asked the follow-up question, the one that actually matters. I find my father still on the terrace. He's alone now. Marcus must have left. Dad, I say, I need to ask you something else. He turns to me, his face drawn with worry. Okay, what did Marcus say when he came to you last year? When he asked about Elena? You said he was troubled, that he asked if he should distance himself. But what did he actually say about his feelings? Dad's expression shifts, surprise maybe, or realization that this question matters more than the others. He said, Dad stops, choosing his words carefully, and he said that he was afraid he was falling in love with her, that he felt guilty even having these feelings, but he couldn't seem to help it. He asked if I thought there was any scenario where what? Where Elena might feel the same way? Where maybe if things were different, if you and Elena weren't together? Dad trails off. I told him that was a dangerous road to go down, that you and Elena were happy and he needed to respect that. But he asked. I say, he actually asked you if there was a chance Elena loved him back. Yes. And you never thought to tell me. I should have, Dad says. I see that now. But at the time, I thought Marcus said he would handle it. He promised me he would either talk to you or put distance between himself and Elena. I trusted him to do the right thing. He didn't do the right thing, I say. He did what he wanted to do, which was stay close to her and hope that eventually she'd choose him. You don't know that. don't I? I pull out my phone. I need you to text Marcus. Tell him to meet me in the library in 10 minutes. Just him, not Elena. Daniel, what are you planning? I'm going to ask him a question, I say. The same question I asked you 3 weeks ago. And depending on his answer, I'm going to decide what happens next. Dad looks uncertain. Son, in your state right now, maybe it's better to wait. I can't wait, I say. This needs to happen tonight, while everything's still raw and real, before anyone has time to construct a story that makes this seem less terrible than it is. Dad studies my face, then nods slowly. Okay, I'll text him. Thank you. I leave the terrace and make my way through the mansion to the library, a smaller room off the main hall, lined with books, quiet and private. I pour myself a drink from the bar cart in the corner. Scotch, neat. The burn helps. I'm on my second glass when Marcus arrives. He looks terrible. His tuxedo is disheveled, his eyes red, his hair messed up like he's been running his hands through it compulsively. You wanted to see me, he says. Close the door. He does. We stand facing each other across the oriental rug, and I can see him bracing for whatever's coming. I have a question, I say, and I need you to answer honestly. No evasion, no careful phrasing, no protecting my feelings. Just the truth. Okay, Marcus says quietly. Are you in love with Elena? The silence stretches. Marcus's face does something complicated. Pain, guilt, something that might be relief. Yes, he says finally. Yes, I'm in love with her. The admission should hurt more than it does, but I've known, really. I've been building the case for months, gathering evidence, constructing the argument. This is just the final confirmation. How long, I ask. 3 years, maybe 4. I tried to fight it, tried to ignore it, but he shakes his head. The more time I spent around her, around both of you, the harder it got. Why didn't you tell me? Because you were happy, Marcus says, and his voice breaks. Because you were in love, and she seemed to love you. And I thought maybe if I just waited long enough, these feelings would go away. I thought I could handle it. But you couldn't. No, he admits. I couldn't. I drain the rest of my scotch. Did you know she had feelings for you? Marcus hesitates. I suspected. There were moments, looks, comments, the way she'd find excuses to be around me, but I was never sure. And even if I was sure, what was I supposed to do? Tell you that your fiancé might have feelings for me? Ruin your relationship on a suspicion? Yes, I say flatly. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. I know that now. I set down my glass. What did Elena say to you tonight, after the dance? She said she loved me, Marcus says. She said she couldn't marry you while feeling this way about me. She asked if I felt the same way. And what did you tell her? I told her, he swallows hard. I told her that my feelings didn't matter, that she was your wife and nothing could happen between us, no matter what either of us wanted. Noble, I say sarcastically. Daniel, I'm trying to do the right thing. The right thing? I laugh, and it's a harsh sound. The right thing would have been to tell me a year ago that you were in love with my fiancé. The right thing would have been to skip the wedding, to move to another city, to do literally anything other than stand beside me as my best man while secretly loving my bride. You're right, Marcus says. You're absolutely right. I fucked up. I was selfish and cowardly, and I hurt you, and I can never... His voice breaks completely. I can never take that back. I look at my brother, younger by 2 years, taller by an inch, blessed with every natural advantage I had to work twice as hard to achieve. My brother, who I've loved and envied and admired my entire life. My brother, who is in love with my wife. Here's what's going to happen, I say. I'm going to ask you one more question, and your answer is going to determine everything that comes next. Marcus nods. Okay. If you could have her, I say slowly, if Elena and I weren't married, if there was no guilt or consequence, if you could just be with her, would you? Daniel, that's not fair. Answer the question. Marcus closes his eyes. A tear escapes down his cheek. Yes. God help me, yes. If things were different, if I could... Yes. I would want to be with her. Thank you, I say. Thank you for finally being honest. I walk past him toward the door. What are you going to do? Marcus asks. I pause, hand on the doorknob. I'm going to get everyone back in the ballroom. And then I'm going to ask Elena a question. And depending on her answer, I'm either going to try to save my marriage or I'm going to end it. Daniel, wait. But I'm already gone, walking back through the mansion with a strange, calm clarity. Everything makes sense now. All the pieces fit. I find Claire in the main hall, still trying to manage the chaos of guests who don't know what to do. Claire, I say, get everyone back in the ballroom. All of them. I need to make an announcement. She looks startled. Daniel, are you sure that's... Please, I say, just do it. She must hear something in my voice, because she nods and starts herding people back toward the ballroom. Within 10 minutes, the room is full again. 200 confused, anxious, fascinated guests, all wondering what fresh drama is about to unfold. I stand in the center of the dance floor in the same spotlight where Elena declared her love for Marcus. The DJ hands me a microphone. Thank you all for coming back, I say. My voice is steady, clear, amplified through the room. I know tonight has been unexpected, but there's something I need to do. Elena, could you come up here, please? Elena emerges from the crowd, still in her wedding dress, her face streaked with makeup and tears. She walks slowly to the center of the floor, stopping a few feet away from me. I have a question for you, I say. Just one question. And I need you to answer it honestly in front of everyone here. Daniel, she starts. The question is this, I interrupt. If you had known that Marcus was in love with you before today, before we got married, would you have chosen him instead of me? The room goes completely silent. Elena's eyes widen. She looks at Marcus, who's standing at the edge of the crowd looking stricken. Answer honestly, I repeat, because everyone here just watched you declare your love for him at our wedding. So let's finish this. Let's find out if this was just a moment of panic or if you've actually been in love with him all along. Would you have chosen him? Elena is crying again, but I can see her gathering herself, preparing to answer. And that's when my father steps forward from the crowd. Before she answers, Dad says, his voice carrying across the room, I have something Elena and Marcus both need to hear. Everyone turns to look at him. What is it, Dad? I ask. He walks to the center of the floor, stands between Elena and me. His face is grave, almost apologetic. 10 years ago, he says, when Marcus was 19 and Daniel was 21, Elena was a freshman at the university, and Marcus met her first. The crowd murmurs. Elena looks confused. Marcus has gone white. They dated, Dad continues, for 6 months. It was fairly serious enough that Marcus brought her home for Thanksgiving. But then they broke up. Elena said she wanted to focus on her studies. Marcus was heartbroken, but he moved on. What does this have to do with... Elena starts. 2 years later, Dad says, Daniel met a woman at a networking event. A beautiful, ambitious woman who seemed perfect for him. He introduced her to us, brought her to family dinners. That woman was Elena, but she never mentioned that she dated Marcus. And Marcus, when he saw her again, didn't say anything either. My mind is racing, trying to process this. You're saying Elena and Marcus dated before she and I met? Yes, Dad says. Why didn't anyone tell me? Marcus asked me not to, Dad says. He said it was in the past, that it didn't matter anymore, that he didn't want to complicate your relationship with Elena by bringing up ancient history. I turn to Elena. Is this true? You dated my brother before you met me? Elena's face is a mask of guilt. Yes, I didn't think it mattered. It was so long ago, and we were kids. But you knew, I say. When you met me, when we started dating, you knew I was Marcus's brother, and you never thought to mention that you dated him. I didn't want to make things weird, she says desperately. It was years in the past. I thought we could just move forward. I look at Marcus. And you? You just let me fall in love with your ex-girlfriend without saying a word? I thought she'd tell you, Marcus says, and when she didn't, I figured she had her reasons. And by the time it might have mattered, you were already in love with her, and I didn't want to ruin it. Ruin it, I repeat. You mean like how tonight's ruined? No one answers. I look at my father. You knew about this. For 8 years, you knew that Elena had dated Marcus, and you never told me. I promised Marcus I wouldn't, Dad says. And I hoped that it was truly in the past, that whatever they'd had was over and done with. I didn't realize until recently that maybe it wasn't. The pieces are all rearranging themselves in my mind, forming a different picture than the one I thought I'd been looking at. Elena didn't just fall in love with Marcus during our relationship. She'd been in love with him before we even met. She'd dated him first, broken up with him, and then, 2 years later, started dating me. Me. The older brother, the safe choice, the reliable backup plan. You never got over him, I say to Elena. Did you? When we met, when you started dating me, you were still in love with Marcus. No, she says, but it's weak. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I fell in love with you too, Daniel. What I feel for you is real. Just not as real as what you feel for him, I finish. She doesn't deny it. I turn to Marcus. And you, when Elena and I started dating, how did you feel about it? Marcus's face is devastated. I was jealous, but I told myself I didn't have a right to be. We'd broken up. She'd moved on. And you were so happy, and I thought maybe she was better off with you. You could give her stability, commitment, things I wasn't ready for back then. But now you are ready, I say. Now you're older, more mature, and suddenly you realize you made a mistake. You let her go, and now you want her back. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple, I interrupt. You both settled for me because you thought you couldn't have each other. And the moment it looked like maybe you could, you blew up my wedding to try to get back what you lost. That's not true, Elena protests. Daniel, I love you. I married you. You married me 2 hours ago, I say. 2 hours. And 30 minutes after that, you declared your love for my brother in front of everyone we know. So forgive me if I'm skeptical about the depth of your commitment. I look out at the crowd, 200 faces, all watching this disaster unfold, all bearing witness to the moment my marriage died before it even began. And suddenly I'm tired. So incredibly tired. I'm done, I say into the microphone. This wedding is over. Thank you all for coming. We're sorry for the... I laugh bitterly. We're sorry for the inconvenience. I drop the microphone. It hits the floor with a loud screech of feedback. And then I walk out of the ballroom, out of the mansion, out into the night, where the ocean wind cuts through my tuxedo and reminds me that I'm still capable of feeling something, even if it's just cold. Behind me, I hear Elena calling my name. I don't stop. I just keep walking. I spend the night in my car in the mansion's parking lot. I know this is pathetic. I know I have hotel rooms paid for that I could go literally anywhere else. But the thought of being in a room, in a bed, in any space that was meant for Elena and me together, I can't do it. So I recline the driver's seat of my Honda Civic as far as it will go, and I close my eyes and I try not to think. It doesn't work. My brain keeps replaying the night in excruciating detail. Elena's face when she announced her love for Marcus. The applause, the spotlight following them onto the dance floor. Marcus's confession in the library. My father's revelation about Elena and Marcus's previous relationship. Every moment is a fresh cut. Around 3 in the morning, someone knocks on my car window. I jolt awake. I must have finally fallen asleep and see my father standing outside, looking worried. I unlock the door and he slides into the passenger seat. I've been looking for you for hours, he says. Sorry. Don't apologize. I understand. He pauses. Are you okay? I laugh. No, Dad, I'm really not okay. Stupid question, he admits. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to fix this. You can't fix it, I say. No one can. It's broken in a way that can't be repaired. We sit in silence for a while. Outside, the sky is beginning to lighten. Not quite dawn, but that pre-dawn gray that promises sunrise is coming. Why didn't you tell me? I ask finally. About Marcus and Elena dating before? If you'd told me from the beginning, I never would have. I know, Dad says. I've been asking myself that same question all night. Why didn't I tell you? And the truth is, I was trying to protect Marcus. He asked me to keep it secret, and I thought it was the right thing to do. I thought it was in the past, that it wouldn't matter. It mattered, I say. It was the only thing that mattered. I see that now. Daniel, I'm so sorry. If I could go back. But you can't, I interrupt gently. None of us can. We can only deal with what is, not what should have been. Dad nods. What are you going to do? About the marriage? I don't know. Legally, we're married. But emotionally, practically, there's no marriage to save. How can there be? She's in love with Marcus. She's always been in love with Marcus. I stop, the realization hitting me fully for the first time. I was just the brother who was available. That's not fair to yourself, Dad says. Elena does love you. Maybe not the way you want to be loved, but nothing. Either she loves me enough to choose me or she doesn't. And last night, in front of 200 people, she chose Marcus. Marcus told her they can't be together, Dad says. After everything, after the dance and your confrontation in the library, he told her that nothing could happen between them. that you were his brother and he wouldn't betray you like that. How noble, I say bitterly. Except he already betrayed me. We both know that. I know. Where are they now? Elena and Marcus? Elena is still at the venue, I think, in the bridal suite. Her mother and sister are with her. Marcus left around midnight. I don't know where he went. I check my phone. Multiple missed calls and texts, mostly from Elena. A few from Marcus. Several from friends and family. All variations of, "Are you okay?" and "What can I do?" I text my department head, a woman named Dr. Patterson who's been both a mentor and a friend, and tell her I won't be coming in on Monday, that I need some time. She responds immediately, despite the early hour. "Take all the time you need. I'm so sorry. Everyone's sorry." I need to get out of here, I tell Dad. Away from the venue, away from the city. I just need space. Where will you go? I don't know. Does it matter? Dad considers this. No, I suppose it doesn't. But let me drive you somewhere. You shouldn't be driving in your state. I'm fine. Daniel, I look at my father, this man who tried to protect both his sons and ended up helping neither, and I see genuine anguish in his face. Okay, I say. You can drive. We get out of my car and into Dad's SUV. As he pulls out of the parking lot, I look back at the mansion one last time. In the growing light, it looks beautiful, elegant, timeless. The kind of place where fairy tales are supposed to come true. Instead, it's the place where mine ended. Dad drives me to a cabin he owns in the mountains, about 3 hours north of the city. It's a small A-frame structure on the edge of a lake, surrounded by pine trees, the kind of place where you can't get cell service, and the nearest town is 30 minutes away. It's perfect. There's food in the pantry, Dad says as he helps me bring my suitcase inside. At some point, he must have grabbed it from the hotel. Canned goods, pasta, stuff that keeps, firewood in the shed out back. The water's from a well, so it's safe to drink but tastes a little metallic. Thanks, Dad. I can stay, if you want, or I can come back in a few days to check on you. I need to be alone, I say. But thank you for everything. He hugs me and I let him, and for a moment, I'm a kid again, believing that my father can fix anything. Call me if you need anything, he says. Even if it's just to talk, okay? Okay. After he leaves, I stand in the middle of the cabin's main room and try to figure out what to do with myself. It's Saturday morning. 12 hours ago, I was getting married. Now I'm alone in a cabin in the mountains, my marriage in shambles before it even began. The absurdity would be funny if it weren't so devastating. I spend the day doing mindless tasks. I make a fire in the wood stove. I inventory the pantry. I walk down to the lake and skip stones across the water, remembering the summers Dad used to bring Marcus and me here when we were kids. We were happy then. Or I thought we were. But maybe even then the seeds of this disaster were being planted. Maybe even as children I could sense that Marcus was the preferred one, the golden child, and I was trying harder than I should have needed to just to keep up. My phone has no service, but I brought my laptop and there's satellite internet that's slow but functional. Against my better judgment, I open my email. There are hundreds of messages. Most are from wedding guests, expressions of shock, concern, offers of support. Some are more gossipy, clearly fishing for details they can share. I delete those without reading. There's a long email from Elena. I almost delete it too, but something makes me open it. Daniel, I don't know if you're reading this. I don't know if you ever want to hear from me again, but I need to try to explain, even if my explanations are inadequate. You're right about everything. I did date Marcus before I met you. I did break up with him. And I did fall in love with you while still having feelings for him. You're right that this makes me a terrible person. You're right that I should have been honest from the beginning. But here's what you're wrong about. You're wrong that you were a backup plan. You're wrong that I settled for you. Daniel, when I met you at that networking event, I had no idea you were Marcus's brother. I didn't know until you introduced me to your family. And by then I was already falling in love with you. Was it complicated? Yes. Did I have moments where I wondered what might have been if Marcus and I had stayed together? Yes. But I chose you. Every day for 8 years, I chose you. I chose your kindness over Marcus's charisma. I chose your steadiness over his spontaneity. I chose the way you love me, carefully, thoroughly, with complete attention, over the way Marcus loved me, which was passionate but unstable. So why did I do what I did last night? I don't have a good answer. I can tell you what I was feeling: panic, pressure, the weight of starting a marriage while carrying this secret. But those aren't excuses. I hurt you in the worst possible way, and I'm so, so sorry. I know you probably won't forgive me. I know our marriage is likely over before it really started, but I want you to know that these 8 years with you were real. My love for you is real. Even if it's complicated by my feelings for Marcus, even if it's not the pure, uncomplicated love you deserved, it's real. I hope you find peace, Daniel. I hope you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. I hope you can eventually forgive me, even if you can't forgive what I did. I'm so sorry. Elena, I read the email 3 times. Each time I feel a different emotion: anger, grief, something that might be understanding. She's right about some things. She did choose me, at least until last night. And maybe her feelings for Marcus were complicated, not clear cut, not the simple narrative I've been constructing in my head. But she's also wrong about the most important thing. She says she chose me every day for 8 years. But the truth is, she chose the idea of me. She chose what I represented: stability, a safety, the good on paper partner who made sense. She chose me the way you choose a sensible investment or a practical car, not the way you choose someone you can't live without. And last night, when given the opportunity to be honest, to choose passion over practicality, she chose Marcus, or tried to. I close my laptop. Outside, the sun is setting over the lake, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It's beautiful in that indifferent way nature is beautiful, continuing to exist regardless of human drama, cycles of day and night proceeding, whether I'm married or devastated or both. I build a fire in the wood stove and make myself dinner: canned soup, crackers, nothing that requires thought. Then I sit in front of the fire and try to figure out what comes next. The practical steps are clear. I need to talk to Elena about annulment or divorce. We need to figure out the logistics: the house we were supposed to move into next month, the joint bank account we opened, the wedding gifts that need to be returned. I need to inform my employer about what happened, make sure I can take the time I need to process this. But beyond the logistics, I need to figure out how to live with what happened, how to trust again when the person I trusted most betrayed me, how to love again when my last attempt ended in public humiliation, how to be in the same room as my brother without wanting to. I stopped that thought. Because despite everything, I don't hate Marcus. I should, I want to, but I don't. Because I understand him. That's the worst part. I understand the position he was in. Loving someone his brother loved, trying to do the right thing, failing because the heart doesn't care about what's right. I would have done the same thing if our positions were reversed. That realization sits heavy in my chest. I'm still thinking about all of this when I hear a car coming up the access road. It's nearly 9 o'clock, full dark, no reason for anyone to be out here unless. I go to the window and see headlights cutting through the darkness. A car pulls up, and in the glow of the cabin's porch light, I see Marcus get out. He stands there for a moment, looking at the cabin, clearly uncertain about whether to approach. I open the door. "How did you find me?" I ask. "Dad told me where you were," Marcus says. "I'm sorry, I know you want to be alone, but I needed to see you." I needed to. He stops, his voice breaking. I needed to try to explain. "There's nothing to explain," I say. "You love her. She loves you. End of story." It's not that simple. It is, though. It really is. Marcus walks closer, and I can see he looks terrible, unshaven, wearing the same clothes from yesterday, his eyes red from crying or not sleeping or both. "Can I come in?" he asks. "Please, 5 minutes. If you still want me to leave after that, I'll go." Against my better judgment, I step aside and let him in. Marcus stands in the middle of the cabin's main room, looking around like he's trying to memorize it. We spent summers here as kids, swimming in the lake, hiking in the woods, telling ghost stories around campfires. Good memories. Now they're tainted. "I'm not going to be with her," Marcus says abruptly. "Elena, I told her no." "I know. Dad told me." "Did he tell you why?" "Because I'm your brother. Because you don't want to be the guy who destroyed his brother's marriage." "Yes," Marcus says, "but also because." He stops and struggling with something. "Because I don't actually know if what I feel for her is real love or just wanting something I can't have." I look at him sharply. "What do you mean?" "When Elena and I dated 10 years ago, it was intense but brief. 6 months. And when she ended it, I was heartbroken, but I moved on. I dated other people, had other relationships, and I was fine. I didn't spend those 2 years pining for her. So, so when she showed up again as your girlfriend, it stirred up all these old feelings. But were they real feelings for her of as a person, or were they just nostalgia, ego, the idea that maybe I'd let something special slip away? You're asking me to explain your feelings to you? I say incredulously. No, I'm telling you that I've been thinking about this all night, trying to figure out what's real and what's just fantasy. And the truth is, I don't know. Maybe I do love Elena. Or maybe I'm just in love with the idea of her, with the version of our relationship I've built up in my head over the years. That doesn't make what you did okay, I say. I know, nothing makes what I did okay. But I want you to understand, I never set out to hurt you. I never planned to fall in love with your girlfriend. It just happened. And once it did, I didn't know how to unfuck the situation. I sink into one of the cabin's worn armchairs. You should have told me. The moment you realized Elena and I were together, the moment you felt anything beyond, oh, that's my ex, you should have told me. I know. But you didn't. Because you wanted to keep the door open. You wanted to see if maybe, eventually, she'd realize she still loved you. Marcus is quiet for a long moment. Then, yes, God help me, yes. I kept hoping that you and Elena would break up naturally, that she'd realize we were wrong for each other, and then maybe, after a respectful amount of time, we could all live happily ever after. I finished bitterly. Except that's not what happened. What happened is that I proposed. She said yes. We planned a wedding, and you stood beside me as my best man while secretly loving my bride. I'm sorry, Marcus says. And he's crying now, openly. Daniel, I'm so fucking sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know I destroyed something we can never get back. But I need you to know you're my brother. You're my family. And I would give anything, anything, to undo what happened. I look at him, my younger brother, who has always been charmed, always been lucky, always gotten what he wanted without trying as hard as I had to try. Except this time, he's not getting what he wanted. Do you know what the worst part is? I say. The worst part isn't that you fell in love with Elena. The worst part is that I understand why. She's amazing. Anyone would fall in love with her. And if I'm being honest, brutally, painfully honest, you probably would have been better for her than I am. That's not true. It is, though, I interrupt. Elena needs someone who matches her energy, her passion, her spontaneity. I'm too careful, too measured. I approach love the way I approach research, methodically, analytically. That's not what she needs. Maybe, Marcus says carefully. Or maybe she needs both. Maybe that's why she was torn. She wasn't torn, I say. She chose you. Maybe not with her words or her actions before last night, but in her heart, she chose you. The dance was just her admitting it publicly. But I told her no, Marcus says again. I told her we can't be together, no matter what we feel. Because you're my brother, and that matters more than... Don't, I interrupt. Don't make yourself the hero of this story. You're not refusing her out of nobility. You're refusing her out of guilt. And that guilt is going to eat at you for the rest of your life. Marcus sinks into the chair across from me. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? I want you to answer one question honestly, I say. And depending on your answer, I'll tell you what happens next. Okay. I lean forward, looking him directly in the eye. If you could go back to 10 years ago, when you and Elena were dating, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice about that relationship, what would you say? Marcus doesn't hesitate. Don't let her go. The answer hangs in the air between us. That's what I thought, I say quietly. Daniel, go home, Marcus. Get some sleep. And when Elena asks you again, because she will ask you again, tell her yes. What? Marcus looks stunned. I'm not going to... Yes, you are, I say, because I'm giving you permission. Because I'm telling you that I'm not going to stand in the way of you being with the person you actually love. But you and Elena are married. Barely, for one night. An annulment will be easy, the marriage was never consummated, and we can argue that Elena was under duress or confused or whatever legal argument makes sense. It'll be like it never happened. Daniel, you can't just... I can, I interrupt. I can decide that I don't want to be married to someone who's in love with my brother. I can decide that I deserve better than being someone's second choice. And I can decide that my relationship with you matters more than a marriage that was doomed from the start. Marcus is crying again. I don't deserve your forgiveness. You're right, I agree. You don't. But I'm giving it to you anyway, because I'm tired of being angry. Because I'm tired of this consuming everything. Because I want to move on, and I can't do that if I'm holding on to resentment. What about Elena? What about her? Do you forgive her too? I think about this. I don't know yet. That's more complicated, but eventually, yes, I think I will, because staying angry at her only hurts me, not her. Marcus stands up, walks to the window, looks out at the darkness. This doesn't feel right. It feels like you're sacrificing yourself for us. I'm not sacrificing anything, I say. I'm choosing myself for once. I'm choosing to not be in a relationship with someone who wishes I was someone else. That's not sacrifice, that's self preservation. But you love her. I do, but I admit. I'll probably always love some version of her, but I can't be married to her. Not after last night. And not knowing what I know. Marcus turns to face me. What do I tell her? Tell her I stop thinking. Tell her that I'm filing for an annulment. Tell her that we're both free to move on with our lives. Tell her that I hope she's happy and I mean it. Do you? Mean it? Ask me in a year, I say. Right now, I'm not sure what I feel except tired, but I think eventually, yes. I'll want her to be happy, even if that happiness is with you. Marcus moves toward me like he might hug me, but I hold up a hand. Not yet, I say. I need time before we can, whatever our relationship is going to be after this. I need time before we get there. I understand. Good. Now go home, drive safe. And Marcus? Yeah? Don't fuck it up with her, I say. If you're going to be with Elena, if I'm going to lose her to you, at least make it worth it. Love her the way she deserves to be loved. Make her happy. Don't make my sacrifice meaningless. It's not a sacrifice, Marcus says. Yes, I say quietly. It is. After he leaves, I sit in front of the fire and watch the flames dance. Outside, I hear his car start up, drive away, the sound fading into silence. And then I'm alone. Really, truly alone. I think about what comes next. The annulment proceedings. Dividing up the wedding gifts. Explaining to friends and family what happened. The gossip, the sympathy, the inevitable questions about how I'm doing. I think about Elena, brilliant, beautiful, complicated Elena, and how she'll probably be happy with Marcus. How they'll be good together in a way she and I never quite were. I think about my brother and how we'll rebuild our relationship slowly over years until maybe someday I can be in the same room with him without feeling this ache in my chest. And I think about myself and what I want my life to look like now that it's no longer tied to Elena's. The answer surprises me. I want to be alone for a while. Really alone. Not dating, not looking for someone new to fill the Elena-shaped hole in my life. Just alone. Figuring out who Daniel Foster is when he's not trying to be worthy of someone extraordinary. Maybe I'll discover I'm actually okay on my own. Maybe I'll discover I'm more than just the careful, reliable, safe choice. Maybe I'll discover that being second best in someone else's story doesn't mean I can't be the hero of my own. The fire crackles, the cabin is warm. Outside, the stars are probably visible if I wanted to look up, but I don't. I just sit here in this moment, letting myself feel everything: grief, anger, betrayal, relief, hope, exhaustion. Tomorrow, I'll start figuring out the practical next steps. Tomorrow, I'll begin the process of unmaking my marriage and rebuilding my life. But tonight, I just sit with the wreckage and let myself be broken. Because sometimes, before you can heal, you have to fully acknowledge the wound. And this wound, this humiliation at my own wedding, this betrayal by the two people I loved most, this discovery that the life I thought I was building was built on sand, this wound is deep. But I'll survive it. I'm good at surviving. It's what the careful, reliable, safe brother does. I'm in my office at the university, grading papers, when my phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Can we talk in person? 6 months. That's how long it's been since the wedding that wasn't, since I came to this cabin and decided to let Elena and Marcus be together. In those 6 months, I've done the work of dismantling a marriage that barely existed. The annulment went through easily. We cited fraud, argued that Elena entered the marriage under false pretenses, which was technically true. The house we were supposed to move into went back on the market. The wedding gifts were returned with apologetic notes. I moved into a small apartment near campus. I threw myself into my research, published 2 papers, started writing a book about behavioral patterns and economic decision-making. I began seeing a therapist who specialized in betrayal trauma. I didn't speak to Marcus or Elena, not because I hated them, but because I needed the space to heal without their presence complicating things. But 6 months is apparently the limit of our mutual avoidance. I text back, sure, when and where. His response is immediate. Coffee shop near your apartment, tomorrow at 2. I agree, though my stomach immediately knots with anxiety. The next day, I arrive at the coffee shop 10 minutes early. It's a trendy place with exposed brick and cold brew on tap, full of students working on laptops and freelancers taking video calls. I order a black coffee and claim a table in the back corner. Marcus arrives exactly on time. He looks good, better than he did that night at the cabin. He's gotten a haircut, filled out a bit, moved with less of the manic energy that used to define him. He looks, I realize, like someone who's content. Hey, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. Hey. Awkward silence. We've spoken on the phone a few times over the past 6 months. Brief, logistical conversations about dividing up some shared belongings, coordinating with Dad about family events. But we haven't been face to face since that night. You look good, Marcus says finally. Healthy. Thanks, you too. More silence. Then Marcus takes a breath, clearly gathering courage. Elena and I are together, he says. Officially. We've been dating for about 4 months now. I nod, I already knew this. Dad told me gently a few months ago. But hearing Marcus say it directly is different. How is it, I ask. Being with her? Marcus stops, searching for words. It's different than I imagined, harder in some ways. The guilt doesn't go away just because we're together now. Every time I'm happy with her, there's this voice in my head saying I don't deserve it. You probably don't, I say, but my tone is mild. But then, none of us get what we deserve. We just get what happens. Marcus looks at me carefully. You seem okay, are you? Some days, I say honestly. Some days I'm fine. I go to work, see my students, have lunch with colleagues. Other days I wake up and remember what happened, and it hits me all over again. But the bad days are getting less frequent. I'm glad. Are you? I look at him directly. Glad that I'm okay? Or just relieved that you don't have to feel quite as guilty? Marcus winces. Both, probably. Daniel, I didn't come here to make excuses or ask for forgiveness again. I know what I did, I know what we did, but I wanted to. He pauses. I wanted to give you this. He pulls out an envelope and slides it across the table. What is it? I ask. Open it. I do. Inside is a check, made out to me from both Marcus and Elena's joint account, for an amount that makes my eyes widen. What the hell is this? It's every penny we spent on your wedding, Marcus says. The venue, the flowers, the photographer, the DJ, the caterer, everything. Elaine and I, we went through all the receipts and added it up. We know it doesn't fix what happened, but we needed to pay you back. I stare at the check. The amount is significant. Tens of thousands of dollars. Money that Elena and I had carefully budgeted for. Money that came from our savings and contributions from our parents. I can't accept this, I say. You have to, Marcus insists. Please, let us do this one thing to try to make amends. You can't make amends, I say. Not for this. The money doesn't change what happened. I know, but please, take it anyway. Use it for whatever you want. A trip, a down payment on a place, investment, anything. Just let us do this. I look at the check again. The truth is, the money would be useful. My post-divorce financial situation is tighter than I'd like. Okay, I say finally. Thank you. Marcus looks relieved. There's something else. Of course there is. Elena wanted me to ask if you'd be willing to meet with her. Not to get back together or anything like that. She knows that's not possible. But to talk. To maybe find some closure. I don't know if I want closure, I say. That's fair, but will you think about it? I sip my coffee, considering. Do I want to see Elena? Do I want to hear whatever explanation or apology she's spent 6 months preparing? I'll think about it, I say finally. But I'm not promising anything. That's all I'm asking. We sit in silence for a moment. Around us, the coffee shop hums with the noise of daily life. Espresso machines hissing, conversations overlapping, someone's laptop playing a YouTube video too loudly. How's Dad? I ask, changing the subject. He's okay. Worried about you. Asks about you constantly. You should call him more. I know, I will. He wants us, all of us, to do Thanksgiving together. You, me, Elena, him, Mom, like a family. I laugh. Oh, that sounds like a terrible idea. I know, but he's hoping eventually we can get to a place where we can be in the same room without it being weird. It's always going to be weird, Marcus. I don't care how much time passes. You're dating my ex-wife. That's definitionally weird. Ex-wife after 2 hours of marriage, Marcus points out. It's not like you were together for years. We were together for 8 years before the wedding, I remind him. The marriage certificate is the least significant part of what we lost. Marcus nods, chastened. You're right, I'm sorry. I forget sometimes that just because Elena and I are happy now doesn't mean we didn't destroy something important to get here. At least you're aware of it, I say. We talk for a while longer, surface things, nothing too deep. Marcus tells me about his job, about a promotion he's up for. He asks about my research, my book. We carefully avoid talking about Elena beyond the bare minimum. When we finally stand to leave, Marcus hesitates. Are we? He starts, then stops. I don't know how to ask this. Are we brothers still, or did I lose that too? I consider this. The honest answer is complicated. We're brothers by blood, by history, by shared DNA and childhood memories. But are we brothers in the way that matters, with trust, loyalty, the bond that should make betrayal impossible? I don't know, I say finally. We're something. Maybe not what we were before, but something. And maybe that's enough for now. Marcus nods, and I can see both relief and sadness in his expression. Okay, I can work with that. We shake hands, formal, awkward, nothing like the easy affection we used to share. And then we go our separate ways, and I walk back to my apartment, and I think about the check in my pocket and what it represents. Blood money, in a way. Payment for a marriage that never was, for a public humiliation for the loss of the life I thought I was building. But also freedom, the means to start over, to build something new. Maybe that's worth something.